Hey, this is Mike Barnes, the financial first responder. Hey, today's topic is the 28-day command cycle. A lot of times, clients tend to not really understand this process till we start to go through it. And so, with that said, we're going to talk about 4 weeks of where you can be successful in 28 days. Now, just so you know, I'm going to go through this one slide, but I'm actually going to talk about each week and what is expected as a client, a student, um, for you to be successful. So for the first week, we call survival. Now, week survival, when you think about it, what are we surviving from or what are we doing? We're focusing on protecting and stabilizing our assets. So what we want to do is we want to build an emergency fund. We want to cover our essentials and we want to cut waste and we want to cash flow with some control. And so a lot of times people are not used to this type of strategy because no financial advisor or other financial professionals really talk to them about how they spend their money. They really just go out and sell them something, right? So I want you thinking about week one is the survival of the fittest. So that week one in the month, because we only operate in 4 weeks and we operate 6 days a week and we rest on the seventh. Whatever your Sabbath day is or whatever that day is that you choose to rest. So for couples, this may be different for each other depending on how you can actually sit down and talk about it. If you're an individual, you just pick the day that you want to use as your rest day, and that's the day that you recharge and start over, right? So when we talk about week one, and we're talking about building an emergency funds need to be 3 to 6 months times your expenses. Now, the reason why I say time your expenses is because, to be perfectly honest with you, you don't pay your bills with your gross, you pay it with your net. So, case in point, if your net bills, if you make $10,000 a month and your net bills are $5,000 a month, what we're looking at is we're looking at if you're by yourself, no one helping you, no additional income, or maybe you do have additional income, you might be able to get away with 3 months of 5,000, which would be 15,000. If you're a married couple and it's still 5,000, but your income is still 10,000, then you would basically save for at least 3 months. Now, if you are single, or if you're a spouse and your significant other or your spouse does not work, then you need to do 6 months if you have one job or if it's one person working. So in that example, 6 months times 5,000 would be 30,000 that you would have in an emergency fund, not in your checking account, in a separate account that you call a life happens fund. You want to be able to cover your essentials. What are your essentials? Essentials would be your rent or your mortgage. It would be able to pay your car payment. It would be able to pay lights and water and food and any insurances that are needed. You want to cut waste. You want to have some cash flow control. A lot of times, a lot of clients that I deal with, they don't write stuff down. They just spend money. And then at the end of the month, they got more month than they do money. So this week one, survival, is the week that you start your process. Now in week two, we go to stability. Now when we're talking about stability, we're talking about strengthening and reducing that debt. Now this is the time that you pay down your debt. You build savings, you stick to a budget, and you improve your credit. Now you may be saying, well, Mr. Financial First Responder, how do I do all that in week two when I was just in survival mode in week one? Well, in week two, depending on how you get paid. Most people get paid bi-weekly. That should be the week or close to the week that you have your first paycheck. Now, it still is in America where people work 2 weeks or 1 week in a whole, depending on how they get paid, whether they get paid weekly or they get paid bi-weekly. And then, God bless the teachers, they get paid once a month, right? So they have to budget based off of a month. And for all practical purposes, our months in our program is 28 days. We can go deeper in that if you want to ask me questions of why it's 28 days. It is 28 days is because it makes it even across the board. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no 30 days, no 31, no 29, just 28. Now in week 3, we go into growth mode, or as I like to say, invest and expand. We're looking at investing consistently. So you're investing in your retirement. You're investing in your 401k. You're investing in your IRAs, whether it be Roth or traditional. You're investing in whatever asset class that you like, right? And you believe will work better for you. You should be working on increasing your income. Maybe it's a second job. Maybe it's a side hustle. You should be building assets. Assets by design or actual products or property or services that produce income. You should be growing your skills. One of my favorite mentors, his company is called Skillionaire. And I can tell you that you have to, in this environment, work on your skills daily. Then we get to week 4. Now in week 4 is strategic freedom or legacy. Or as I like to say, freedom or legacy building. Because what we're doing is we're optimizing our investments. We're looking at ways that it can be tweaked. We create passive income. Now, passive income, for some of you that might not know this, is money that you make while you sleep. It could be, i.e., mailbox money. Maybe you came up with a course or a program where people pay you for the program. Maybe you have rental property. Maybe you have, for some of you, you've done Airbnbs, or you've done Verbo, or you've done some of the car rental opportunities. It's also where you plan for retirement. Build and protect the legacies, i.e. the trust, whether it's revocable or irrevocable, whether you have your name on things or not. We go into detail of how you should do it. Now, this is a 28-day financial cycle. So we plan, we execute, we review, we repeat, and we grow, right? So 5 things: plan, execute, review, repeat, grow. Now, I want you to think about this. Every 6 days, you're working on survival, and then you have a rest day. The next 6 days, you work on stability. You have a rest day, and then you go to week 3, growth. You work on that for 6 days, and then you rest, and you go on to week 4. There's a reason why we rest. Because if you are constantly thinking about your finances, you're not going to stay focused. A habit is created in 21 days. And I can tell you right now, you really need to go through about 21 cycles of this, meaning 21 weeks, for this 28-day plan to be ingrained in you. So recap. We said that week 1 is called survival. So we're going to protect your income and your essentials. Okay? We're going to build your financial cushion. We're going to eliminate waste and overspending, and we're going to control the cash flow. And we're going to know our numbers. In week 2, as far as stability, we're going to attack debt with some intention and focus. We're going to build savings and security. We're going to stick to our budget. I know budget is a bad word, but I like to say it's the thing that keeps you stable. And by showing some discipline, you will see some growth over time. You're going to strengthen your credit and financial standing because you're constantly looking at your bills. Now, if you're using the financial positioning system, you'll be able to see this just like I will be able to see it. When we sit down, we're talking about your numbers. We're not talking about me and we're not talking about you. Yeah, we'll get some rapport in, but we're talking about where you are financially. In week 3, we're talking about investing consistently for the future. A lot of people live for the now, and then some people live only for the future. We want a happy medium. We want you to live now and later. So we have to increase income and opportunities. That may be working on our skill sets, right? Working on us making more money on the job. It's picking out another opportunity like a franchise or real estate venture, or bettering ourselves so that we can get higher pay. Or maybe we become an entrepreneur in something that we love to do, a hobby. So we're building assets and we're growing our skills. And then in week 4, this is that strategic freedom. See, with strategic freedom, or as I like to say, legacy building, you have the freedom and you have the legacy to pass something on to your children's children. So we optimize your investments, find little tweaks, we create passive income streams, and then we plan for retirement and build those plans, and we protect those plans. So here we are. If I had to give you some rules, on the bottom left, it talks about the command rules. You want to be disciplined today to have freedom for tomorrow so that you can have legacy forever. And if you forget that, I just need you to think about plan, set your mission, execute, take daily action, review, which means track your progress every 6 days, rest on the 7th day. Remember, God made the world in 6 days and he rested on the 7th. If it worked for God, it'll work for you. And then you want to rinse, wash, and repeat. Every 28 days, you'll change your life. And then you may say, well, Mr. Financial First Responder, what's the payoff? The payoff, if you are willing to have some discipline and some self-control and work with your spouse or work with yourself and a financial partner like me, meaning financial first responder, you'll have stronger finances, you're going to have more freedom, and you're going to have a generational impact. You see, the things you do today will change the things that you have tomorrow. Look, this is Mike Barnes, the Financial First Responder. Please like and subscribe my channel. This has been for educational purposes only. If you are not in my program or you are not following me on YouTube, subscribe. And let's see how we can help you get into the 28-day command cycle. God bless.